It's okay to not be okay. Been going through.
Hi, I'm Terrence Matthews.
My name's Troy MacLean. I'm an addictions counselor.
This is always so hard for me to talk about, not just because the memories are difficult to go through, but because I literally cannot remember. There are entire blocks of my childhood that I just cannot recall because they were so stressful and anxiety inducing, and I just can't remember whether it's from my perspective or what actually happened to Terrence. So I guess I'll start with this. As someone who's now going through teachers college, as someone who's had a sibling go through an addiction journey, as an educator, as a sister, I would say if you have little people in your household who are being directly impacted by addiction and substance abuse, whether that's weed, pills, coke, alcohol, whatever it may be, check on your little people. You might think they have no idea what's going on and you're doing a great job of protecting them, and they have no idea. They do. They do. And they don't have the words to describe exactly what it is they're experiencing. They don't have the words to tell you that it's too much for their own minds, for their own emotional state. They don't have the words to say that they wish it would just stop and that they didn't have to live like that anymore. Check on your little people, because whether or not you think they're being neglected, there's no way you can give them the attention that they deserve during your tumultuous time period, whether it's you as a parent, their sibling, their other parent, even them. They don't have the tools to say what they're dealing with, and they need you to be there as their grown up, to speak for them and to advocate for them and to do your damnedest to protect them and shield them. So I'll start there. How do I put this? I feel like there was a sense of a role reversal for a while. I felt like I had to be the big sister in some ways, even though we were 7 years apart, Terrence being 7 years older than me, especially as he got into his 20s and I started growing into my teen years. It felt like he stopped maturing at 17, and as I got more mature and as I started to understand certain things from a different perspective, even going through my own high school experience, it felt like I just didn't understand why he wasn't getting it. In retrospect, as a very grown woman now, there was no way he could have gotten it. Being a teenager, as hard as it is, and then throw in a mental health crisis, you're asking for a disaster. You're asking for a very long, very difficult journey. No one is ready for what is going to happen, what could happen. No one's story is the same. You can't look at someone else's sobriety journey and say, oh, this is exactly how yours is going to go, or how my son or daughter's sobriety story is going to go. It's different for everyone. I had beef for a long time with the medical care system. You know, this is Canada. Why is it so damn hard to keep somebody admitted into a hospital, right? Why is it that they can sign themselves out against medical advice because they're an adult, and if they're not a harm to themselves or anyone around them, a physical harm to themselves or anyone around them, they're good. They don't have to be in a hospital. Looking back now, though, we weren't the only ones who were poorly equipped to deal with this kind of thing. The healthcare system is only just now catching up to the effects of marijuana use on young people. Including the time it took Terrence to get sober to the time he's been sober, if I'm doing the math, that's 18 years. And our medical system is just catching up. But while they're catching up, weed has been legalized. Alcohol can now be purchased at a gas station or a convenience store. And you're still an issue if you can't handle your drink, can't handle your smoke. It's such an interesting double-edged sword. Like I said, there's so much I don't remember, and I'm kind of grateful for it to some degree, because those were some ugly, ugly memories to look back at. One thing I do vividly remember was the first time I went to go see Terrence when he was hospitalized the first time. And on the one hand, I was excited. On the other hand, I was scared because I hadn't seen him for, I think, at this point, it was almost 2 months. But when I was brought to the hospital by my parents, on the door that looked like it came straight out of a prison, it had this sign that said, "No one under the age of 16 is allowed to visit psychiatric patients." I was 9. And this rule did not change for the next 6 years. So for 6 years, I couldn't see him when he was hospitalized, and I just kind of have to wait until he'd come home. And after a while, I stopped waiting for him to come home. After a while, I was like, just keep him in there longer. Keep him in there longer. He's not better yet. Keep him in there longer. It didn't happen. It was a very long time. It was a very long time. He went to rehab, I think. Apparently it was 3 times. I thought it was twice, but it was 3 times. I remember alpacas. I remember a peacock. I remember a massive mansion. Shout out to Vita Nova. Thank you for giving us our life back. Thank you, Peace Ranch as well, and Newport. You gave us a different version of our brother and son and cousin, nephew, but you gave us our Terrence back. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I remember distinctly going through my teenage years swearing to myself that I would not try weed until I was at least 25 years old. Because I saw what it did to my brother, and I said, there's no way in f***ing hell that is going to be me. My parents went through way too much, and I'm too cute for a psych ward. That was not about to be me. I tried it many years later in my 20s, and it was whatever. I thought it was overrated, and I'm like, it was this he was having a hard time with, but it was so much more than that. So much more than that. And when he kicked weed, then there was alcohol. That was harder than the weed, because while we haven't talked about this yet, the alcohol, despite the fact that Terrence technically wasn't an alcoholic, is what almost killed him 3 times at home. And at the time, our bedrooms were right beside each other, and there was only a wall separating us. And I'll never forget the first time I heard him gasp. And I thought I was dreaming because this was like maybe 2 a.m., 2:30. And I realized that Terrence was gasping for air. And I don't know CPR. I don't know CPR. I don't know life-saving measures. I don't know the Heimlich maneuver. I don't know what the fuck is going on. My only goal was, don't wake up my mom, don't wake up my dad, get him sorted, and we'll pretend like it never happened. I go in there, and he's into his room, and he had thrown up. He was choking on his vomit in bed. And I remember this so vividly because I remember being told the story of how Jimi Hendrix died, choking on his vomit in the bathroom. And I was like, yup, this is it. This is the one. This is where he dies. And turns out that wasn't fatal. It took another 2 times after that before he decided to finally actually go to Vita Nova and get help. And I realized that as awful and as hard as that was for me, as awful and as hard as it was for my mom to have to go and see her son in the psych ward, as awful as it was for my dad, for my other brother, Terrence was the one going through it, and there was no way we could ever actually understand it. We talk about it now, and their memories now, but there are people who are going through this today, in this very moment, as I speak. And it seems very dark now, and it's probably been very dark for a long time, and it will probably continue to be very dark. But I'm asking that even if you have to draw a boundary where you're saying you can't come home until you're clean, I need you to understand that the most important thing and the most caring thing you can do for your loved one, even if they are no longer welcome in your life until they decide to put substances aside, is to never give up hope. Don't give up on them. Don't give up on yourselves. Don't give up on your family. You can't always be strong. Sometimes you have to put down the weight that you're carrying, and that weight is their addiction. But you have to put it down, but you cannot give up hope that someday they will be more than their addiction, and their addiction will no longer control them. That is it.